What's new over there at the VRN? Anything happening?
We obviously have
nothing, Shannon.
we have
business as
pretty
usual.
uneventful.
we obviously have. I think we have Shannon standing by with his studio quality Comrex. Hello, Shannon Burke.
Good morning, Bubba. How are you?
Good. How are you? Sound extra tired this morning.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, I was laughing my ass off at the Dark Match Steve parodies.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Now has it been officially announced your new title?
I don't know. Normally JVC would send out a press release, but
how about I'll send one out today. I put this whole thing together. Did I not?
You did.
For real. When
you were instrumental.
When they were talking about doing this, I told John Cracchiola, I'd be like, listen, here's what you do. You blow out this guy, you blow out that guy. Then you put the guy that's boots on the ground that's executing the format as the program director. They run air check sessions with Don Miller every 6 to 8 weeks. And you make Shannon Burke the program director. Boom. That's what you do.
Yeah, I like it.
And then it started. Then it was kind of happening, and then it got stalled a little bit. Then Shannon flipped out and texted me, and then so I just texted them all and be like, "Listen, you're pissing off Shannon, guys, and that's not what we agreed upon." I mean, am I embellishing it or not?
No, that's fairly accurate. That's pretty much how it went down.
I'm like, "Hey, boss 1 and 2, you two said this isn't how it's happening." Shannon's pissed off on it. And then Shannon texts me, he's like, I didn't want you necessarily throwing a fit to the
yeah, like I didn't want you throwing your weight around there, you know. But yeah, it's good. It's good.
How's the radio station doing? Hold on.
Jeez.
Wow, what was that, Shannon?
That was Kim in the kitchen making a ton of noise.
Making fresh biscuits, and the pan just fell out of the deal.
What were you asking?
Like, what's your favorite? Like, if Kim does she make you breakfast?
She offers every morning,
right?
Yeah.
And does she have something that she's good at?
She'll make like an egg and bacon and cheese sandwich.
That's like, how about like biscuits and gravy or anything?
Oh, on the weekends, absolutely. Best biscuits and gravy you've ever had.
See, I'm a big biscuits and gravy guy.
I am, but then I have tremendous guilt afterwards.
Yeah, because it's like all bad for you. Like
there's nothing good for you on the plate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would literally be the only thing you could eat all day if you wanted to stay within your caloric count.
Yeah, you have to stop at breakfast right there.
Right. So
what's new over there at the VRN? Anything happening?
We obviously have
nothing, Shannon.
We have
business as
pretty
usual.
uneventful.
we obviously have we obviously
How about a co-host? Did she apply there?
Yeah, did Anna apply over there?
No, she did not. That's the thing that blows me away. Is that, she would desire to work in that tiny little market, competing against you, in a market that we own,
Right. And that's what I was the most upset about. I was like, listen, I have a history of helping people out if you want to move on. Shannon moved on, and I was like,
and you could have enforced the non-compete, which are now illegal in the world,
right?
But you could have enforced it, and you let me out of it voluntarily.
I'm like Shannon, no way. And then Spice Boy, who I was super cool to, who I didn't know was actually scheming again to ruin my life. But when he wanted to leave and do nights over at the Bone, I had Tom Bean do his contract for him. So I got a history of, listen, if you want to go and better yourself on a better situation, man, let me help you. And don't apply behind my back, and then I'm getting called for a reference.
Right. Oh, man.
So what do you...
I'm one of the few guys that's worked for you that hasn't tried to destroy you.
Yeah, you're one of the... I mean, you...
You have to put the caveat in there.
Shannon would never... Him and I have... Like here, let me just tell you how much old school respect we have. Tuttle has not endeared himself with the JVC people. In fact, they hate him. Okay, and I mean, I'm just
to put it mildly. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just like you told me you didn't want me to reach out to John and Shane, and I did. I mean, I don't pull no punches. They don't like him. Shane hates him, probably just a little bit worse than Shannon. So I'm figuring out these Wednesdays. And I actually reach out to Shannon. Before I locked Tuttle in, I reached out to Shannon. I said, Shannon, I need a favor.
That was nice of you.
And he was like, okay. now see, because you got to know, Brian, he's the program director now of Florida Man.
So he's your boss?
Well, yeah. Technically, Shannon kind of is my boss.
Oh, hell yeah! Congrats, man.
Congrats, Shannon.
But
Bubba's boss.
he's the program.
We're coming down there for an inspection soon. So.
Everybody's getting drug tested.
And he want.
Did we talk to you about
Yes,
raise?
and you better be positive.
Right. Shannon used to be in the kitchen, and I'd have like the weed Zeppelin smoke thing going. I'd say, either you take a hit or you're fired. And Shannon would be like, what? I go, take a hit or you're not my friend and you're fired.
Yeah,
so
we had to fill up bags.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So we have reverse HR here. But I actually texted Shannon. I said, Shannon, I need a favor. I know listen, with you being the program director and stuff, I don't want to have something on that you just despise. Will you give me one chance to make Tuttle, have him back
whole again?
And no, but have him back. I'm thinking about doing it monthly, but have him back on the first time, and you just give me that opportunity. And Shannon's like, I'll give you one shot. Everybody deserves a second chance. I'll give you a shot. But
my theory is I don't ever want to keep you or hold you back from doing something that you think is good for your show. Why would I do that?
Well, that's the respect that you and I have for each other, and the longevity that we have in this business, that we usually make calculated decisions that usually end up working out good. But in principle, that was the old school way to do it. I know that I'm a subcontractor and I can put whatever I want on my show for the most part. I don't have to ask.
Right.
But I asked because you are the program director and it's going to be on your radio station. So Shannon was super cool about it. Well, he wasn't really cool about it at first. He went, if we were to be intellectually honest, he went, really?
Yeah.
Really? I hate that guy. For real? And I'm like, I'm begging. I'm like, Shannon, please, just give me one shot. And he's like, listen, I'm not one to tell you what to do on your show. You can listen. Who am I to say? But
right.
But you know what? Yeah, go ahead. We'll give him a second chance. And
has he tried to make Shannon? Has he tried to make things good with you? Because I had issues with Tuttle from years back, and him and I squashed it pretty quickly. I just decided I didn't care anymore. And he told me that he's reached out to a lot of people to make sure that they don't hate him. Has he done that with you at all?
No, I don't think he has.
Wyatt Harris 50 on the super chat.
He's I hadn't had a conversation with him or any communication with him in years. So
yeah,
this makes sense now. When you texted me, Bubba, and said your new programming director is a real pushover.
Whatever. Shut up. Shannon knows better. So anyway, Shannon, in the world of Trumpness, if you will. Did he get in any trouble yesterday? And don't you think that if they did violate him on these gag orders and threw him in jail for like 5 or 6 days, that would be the best thing that could ever happen to him?
It would. It would absolutely be, every time, there's more indictments, every time there's another court case, every time he loses a motion, he grows stronger and stronger. And Stephen A. Smith said last week that he was noticing this hypocrisy in the witch hunt against Trump. And then he had to come out yesterday or Monday, I guess, and apologize and say, y'all misconstrued my words. Because he was saying that
that it's Disney came down hard, which owns ESPN.
Yeah.
Probably Stephen A. His first monologue is exactly how he feels. His second one was probably corporately infused. Bitch, you better change your course, something like that.
Right. That's exactly what happened. But I think I agreed with him, and I think what he said is right. And many other African Americans have said the same thing, that they feel they can identify more with him because they see him just getting the book thrown at him for no apparent reason, and that's something that a lot of Black Americans can identify with.
And Brian, how can they legally? Was it Alvin Bragg and the judge? How can you legally put a gag order on something that's happening in public court, in a public forum that's open to the public? How can a person have a gag order about that? Like, how can that be legal?
Well, I think it's legal if the judge and their staff begin to feel intimidated, or like somebody may act on what he's accusing the judge of being, not impartial.
All right,
and all of that.
Okay,
so
but
from
on.
that standpoint, they have the authority to do it. This is not unheard of.
But on the other end of the spectrum, the judge judge's daughter has already made, I heard $100 million in fundraising through a Soros, soft pack.
I mean, you've heard, but is there proof of that, hard proof?
We know.
Yeah, there's hard proof.
Hold on, Brian.
There's
we
hardly
know.
proof,
we know the people that are trying him. In fact, Alvin Bragg, he actually boasted during his candidacy that he was going to be the one that gets Donald Trump. Well, don't you think this particular court case is an absolute sham? The things that they've trumped up that they never trumped up before, the things that they've turned into felonies that are misdemeanors.
Yeah, these are misdemeanors at best, and he's probably guilty of the misdemeanors. Nobody was crying when John Edwards was tried for essentially the same stuff, right?
No.
But he was also found ended up being vindicated and found not guilty. So
Trump's not going to get vindicated.
But out of all the cases, this is the one I didn't like the most, where you don't disclose what the other crime was that rose it to a felony in the charging document. Then it almost seemed like you were searching for a reason to go after him, and you didn't. With everything else going on with him, you didn't need to. It's kind of crazy. I will say this: if Trump's right that these judges are probably biased against him, but at the same token, then he should be asking Eileen Cannon to recuse herself from his trial down in Miami and have a more partial judge put in, because he's the one who appointed her, and she's espoused many pro-Trump views. So you can't have your cake and eat it too.
He might that might be one V for him, but he's got like 16 L's on the dip.
It's like 4 L's, 3 L's. Yeah, there's L's on the other side. It's definitely not in his favor where these things have been brought. These cases have been brought.
What are you talking about? There's a ton of proof that she's raised a ton of money on that on the judge.
That she hasn't made money because
she didn't make money. She raised money for Biden.
Raised money for Biden.
Right. So because a judge's child, I guess there may be a New York law on that. I don't know. I don't know New York law.
Okay, I know that I don't know New York law, but I have a little bit of common sense, just a tad. And it seems to me that if you're a judge, and over this high profile of a case involving the former United States president, and your daughter, which seems pretty close to, is a campaign fundraiser for his opponent, to me that makes you not very unbiased by proxy, does it not?
Right.
I mean, the argument is there, and in Florida, the judge would have to make his own.
What if Donald Jr. was doing this sort of thing? I don't know.
I think the judge should recuse himself. I'm all for that. I think if there's any real indicator, any actual indicator of potential bias, that our court system should aim and strive to eliminate that.
I think, in my opinion, Shannon, you tell me yours, but I think you're not going to get. I think there's a hidden gem in that jury pool that will hold out, and just because he is a New Yorker, he is a celebrity. And I've seen the jury makeup. There's a couple of wishy-washy ones that I think could make this I think this could. I think
there's a couple of attorneys on that jury. You'd think that they would actually practice law, realize the law, and respect it here, and hold that jury up. But who knows?
That's why Trump allowed them on there, Shannon. And I would be the same way. I can have whatever personal beliefs I have, but at the end of the day, the law is the law. An attorney is actually the perfect person to try and hear this case.
They got
two
or
three, right?
Two.
Okay.
And it only takes, all 11 could be going crazy. And if you're that one dude and you're like, bitch, I'll stay here 3 weeks, I am holding out. Right?
Yeah.
You're like, I could care. Listen, I've already been, I get, and then, listen, if you're the holdout juror, think about this. This is what I'd be thinking about. If you're the holdout juror, the jury's, they're not anonymous after the trial, Brian. And can you imagine the book deal?
Yeah.
Or can you imagine that it now? If you're the 11 that went against him, that probably represents X. But if you're the one hung Willie that held in there, I mean, you're going to get all. You
might get an HBO special made about you.
Yeah, I mean, for real, Brian. Do you agree?
Yeah,
and I don't think that there's a law that prohibits them from speaking to the press or cutting a deal after they serve their jury time. After their jury time is done,
boom, you guys are excused. I
Right.
don't think the judge said. There may be some instances where maybe the jury can't write a book or do a movie, but I don't think that happens very often, does it, Brian?
No, in this instance, unless there's a state law prohibiting it, then the jurors are allowed
the judge is going to find it. If indeed there is a little wiggle room in there, he's going to lock all those jurors down so they can't. Meanwhile, they should be able to make ton of money.
It's odd that they're not sequestered, don't you think, Matroni?
Yeah, Brian, why aren't they sequestered? Because this is the hottest thing in New York right now.
I will say this.
Oh, I know.
Of all
Hold
the
on.
cases where sequester probably means the least, it's this one.
Hold on.
Simply because
They don't have any hotel rooms because they're giving them all to the immigrants. Mr. Trump, we feel as if we should sequester this jury because this is all over the news. But the Roosevelt and 4 or 5 other hotels, they're pretty much sold out with immigrants. So we
Book
don't.
solid.
Well, your safety down there, and those guys are solid Democrats. So listen, your safety down there is really, really not. We can't protect you. Buddy.
well, they were going to have a hard time getting a jury on this one anyways. You add sequestration in there, and of all the cases, like I said, where everybody's heard about this, there's they can go on there and lie and say, oh, I'm vaguely aware or whatever. They all research it the second they go home before they're sworn in. And all
Man,
that.
I would love to be on this
there
jury.
are people that absolutely wanted to be on this jury more than anything.
I know. Just because of the backside of the deal. If you're smart, like Shannon, you're a smart guy, you communicate well, you would be telling them every little thing that they would need. You're
I get on there for sure.
Yeah, you're not really a Trump fan. You've never been to a Trump rally. Hope they don't go. You'd have Kim scrubbing your Instagram and your Facebook.
Yeah, the picture with Trump.
Picture of me and Trump on the front page of the website.
Have your Go Biden, bumper sticker on your minivan already. Just because if you could get on that jury, man, you've assured yourself at least a book deal.
At the minimum, especially if you're the guy that holds it up. If you're the hang the jury up guy.
Which there's only going to take one. And I think, Brian, can you see him getting that one? I mean, he's not going to win it. There's no chance he can win. There's no chance he flat out wins. And I don't think, but there is a chance.
Well, a win is just not guilty.
No,
right?
I know. I understand
Whether
that.
it's a hung jury or whatever it may be,
Now,
they're not going to bring the charges again.
What I'm saying is, I also think that there is a chance though that all 12 could dance together. There could be a guilty. But I also think that there's more room for a hung than anything. And if there's a hung, do they let it go?
Yeah, they're going to let it go. They're not going to go through this circus again with him.
What do you make of Betty Thompson, Brian, suggesting that if Trump is found guilty, that he immediately loses Secret Service protection? I mean, it sounds to me like they want him to go to prison and get shanked.
Yeah, this is one of those instances that the founding fathers just and legislatively we haven't accounted for, right?
Meanwhile, RFK Jr. cannot get Secret Service protection, and his father was assassinated, and his father's death was the reason that presidential candidates got Secret Service protection in the first place, and he's been denied over and over and over.
Like over 10 times.
He can't even get Wackenhut to help him. I mean, he can't even get a mall cop to secure him.
J Driver 10 on Super Chat.
Hey Shannon, if Trump would go to jail, let's see if we can get you back in trouble. That you go in there and be, and because you know the ins and outs of jail. Let's say
I'll walk him through it. I'll make sure
like,
he's got commissary. And tell him how to heat up his noodles and
you
stuff
hang out
at
with
night.
Trump in Rikers Island.
You got his back. You look like a pretty badass biker. You're all tatted up. Nobody's gonna mess with you.
Yeah.
Plus, you've already done time, so you're
Right.
listen, I've already done time, bitch.
Yeah.
But Shannon, I think deep down, I don't think you really did hard time, did you?
No.
I mean, you did. You were like a VIP. You were a VIP, didn't they?
Yeah, if you consider solitary confinement VIP.
Now, do they do that for people that are of like famous and stuff like that for your own protection?
So they said, yes. That's what they said.
Wouldn't you rather been in Gin Pop because you're a great communicator? You're tough as hell. They would have all been going crazy. You would have been taking all their lunch money.
I was after a while. Yes, I was. I was the. At some point, someone left the block I was in and took the Scrabble dictionary with them. So I became the Scrabble dictionary, and they called me Radio Man.
Really?
And then they call me over to hey, Radio Man, come over here, Radio Man. Tell me that does that spell boat? BOTE? That's boat, right? I mean, no, that's not boat.
BOTE.
That's a true story.
I'm sorry, Leroy. That's not boat. Okay. I mean, don't. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you.
I don't know. For a couple noodles, I might make it. I might agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, we can find a new language for you, buddy.
Did you brew any hooch?
No, no hooch.
No toilet wine?
Was it in a pod? Like, were you in a pod?
Yeah.
Now, did you have to go in front of the judge in order to say, like, man, take me out of solitary confinement. It's driving me crazy. I want to be in with the boys.
It was at more or less. I just had done whatever time, and I had some connections in there. So
right.
I do love that Bubba has turned prison into like boys' time camp where that's really cool and fun and everybody's cool to each other. I don't think it's like that, Bubba.
No, I think it was horrible. Was it horrible, Shannon? Was it? Did it suck?
It was not a great experience, but
Were you doing push-ups? Were you doing push-ups and sit-ups every day, or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, try to get
absolutely.
Were you jacked?
You go hit the yard. Hit the weights.
I think I'm the first guy to hire you out of the yard. I think.
I got a. Wait a second. Yeah, you were. I think you were. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was the first guy to hire you out of the yard, kid. Please.
Right.
I mean, that show. I mean, that's how strong our bond is. Is that listen, nobody else was hiring him. That he had a bad rap. He went to prison. He got railroaded. He basically, and he did his time. He didn't get any special deals or nothing. It didn't mean that he forgot how to do radio and was less talented. He just had a little bit of a rap, like I do. So come join the rap club here, buddy.
So what's going on with the revolving Wednesdays over there?
Well, I mean, it's just going to be that. We can either go stock with the boys, or we can throw in Tuttle, maybe Gene Lasker, Tom Bean, Tara. Just, have maybe some Instagram models, or not have anything. I mean, like if this gets cumbersome, having a new person come in every Wednesday, then we'll just stop it and just go. Like
Tuttle might have flown off the handle already.
Really?
Did Shannon throw his hat in? What?
Yeah, no, there was a Tuttle super chat that goes, "Thanks for bearing me, Seth Pussboy. Unbelievable."
Who said that?
Tuttle.
I know that after you and I had a conversation, you had him on your podcast or your after show.
Yeah.
That super chat was like 5 minutes ago.
So then the big boss, the EVP, comes down to my office. He's got his phone in his hand and he's listening to it. He goes, "Did you allow Bubba to have Tuttle back?"
And you better said yes, bitch, because I told him
I did.
When he texted me, he goes, "Glad I'm hearing about Tuttle over the radio," and I'm like, already asked Shannon yesterday about it, Shane, but thanks.
And I said, look, I don't want to hold him back from doing something to his show that he believes is positive that will help his show. And I said, but at the end of the day, you've got veto power if you don't.
And I told him that. I said, listen, Shane, if after one appearance you still hate him and you don't want him on your airwaves, then thank you for the opportunity, and it won't happen again. But I did ask. I did throw the Shannon card to him. He asked me why. Am I hearing about? I'm like, listen, I already talked to the program director, buddy. He goes, "You did?" And I go, "Yep. Go ask him."
Hey,
It's a fake Tuttle, by the way.
fake Tuttle, false alarm.
Yeah.
He hasn't blown it already.
Seth, Seth. Seth.
No,
Listen,
it's not Seth's fault. It's the super chat. It said Tuttle has his picture. It looks exactly like his profile.
So, we already got marks that are trying to be disrupted.
They're trying to throw Tuttle off.
They did give money, but Lummy talked to me about it. Lummy's like, Tuttle's in the chat saying things about you. I was like, this can't be.
Yeah, because I didn't want to bring it up in here because I'm like, what did Seth say that was so bad?
I just said, did you square things up with Shannon Burke? That was it.
He will.
Colton already called Tuttle and told him to chill out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Tuttle.
So now, Brian, I know. I think Shannon's familiar with the Hogan sex tape.
Yeah.
Having been, I feel, been brokered. So that one of the reasons why Michael Cohen is in prison is because Keith Davidson, who was Stormy Daniels' first attorney, and did all the negotiations for this $130,000 settlement. Keith Davidson was the guy that also brokered the Hogan sex tape here in Tampa and was part of a Sand Pearl, hotel FBI takedown. And when this trying to get Trump, the FBI looking into all this stuff, this was 2018, and this was just freshly after Hogan had won his money and I think settled with Cox. But I mean, we allege that the FBI went to Keith Davidson and said, "Hey, either you give us all of your correspondence from you and Michael Cohen in negotiating this deal, or we have 3 years left of the statute of limitations on the Hogan sex tape that we can get you for, God, I mean." How many felonies, Brian, was encompassed with that particular?
Probably 3 or 4 easy.
Yeah, 3 or 4. And so I found this article, and it's from 2018. And if this doesn't lay it out, then what does? You ready? Stormy Daniels' former lawyer cooperating with feds and Cohen probe. Keith Davidson, the lawyer who represented the 2 alleged mistresses of President Trump, is now cooperating with federal authorities in the investigation of Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen. Mr. Davidson has been contacted by the federal authorities regarding Michael Cohen probe in the Southern District of New York. Mr. Davidson was asked to provide certain limited electronic information and has done so with and will continue to cooperate to the fullest extent possible under the law. Now, Brian, does that not absolutely validate what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, why else does an attorney, if the FBI comes to you and they're like, "Hey, listen, Brian, we don't have a subpoena or nothing, but can you give us all correspondence between you and, you tell them, pack sand, bitch."
Well, they used this as the basis to get the search warrant to go raid Cohen's office. So, what they're always doing, they catch fish and then they look to use that fish as bait to catch a bigger fish. And so every single subject and target of an investigation, the FBI is looking at that person saying, how can we get something bigger than this with this person? And so that it's a game. It's like they're literally playing Pokemon.
Yep.
Davidson has a reputation for being the man to call when the opposing party really can't say no. Most recently, he represented former Playboy model who allegedly impregnated during an extramarital affair. He also has, outed just certain men as being gay. This Keith Davidson dude, and then would bribe them. He
Blackmail
also
them.
blackmail them. He also was part of the Charlie Sheen shakedown. He was part of the tequila. What was that?
Tequila.
That.
The Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton tape.
Wow.
He did. He did all of those tapes, and the feds had him. Brian, you know the case inside and out. The feds had him dead to rights.
All of them
in Tampa.
All of them.
Spice Boy, Lloyd Burbidge, and Keith Davidson, dead to rights.
Tasha, all of them.
Arrested, Mirandized, and then dropped the case suddenly. Then went back when they couldn't get into Cohen's computer and told Davidson, remember that deal we cut in Tampa, that no file? We got 3 more years left on that bone, 3 more years of meat left on that bone. So if you don't give us all electronic correspondence between you and Michael Cohen cutting this deal, we're going to go ahead and bring that one back up in good years. What is that, Rep? 3 to 5 years? Brian?
Yeah, statute on that stuff.
Right.
Well, here's the thing, too. If it's conspiracy, this would qualify for conspiracy.
Conspiracy is more than one person.
Then it's the date of the last act in furtherance of the conspiracy that the statute runs from. So they probably all the way up until the date when they raided them could get them for conspiracy.
No, I think they had them clear till 2020, either 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, it was probably 5 years. No, so I'm saying start the clock, the statute of limitations clock from the day they got raided.
Right.
So you're talking 5 years past that. So whatever the date of the raid was, add 5 years onto it.
Tell me what day the Sand Pearl. I tell you what, it was December of 20.
Brian, what do you think of
12.
Michael Cohen's star witness status, with being though he's in prison for lying?
Yeah, I mean, there's questions on that. The issue, the way they overcome that is with documentation, right? So you don't have to believe him and what he's saying because, or even if you question it, you're totally in your right to question what he's saying. However, documents A, B, C, D, E, F, G all support what he's saying. So you don't have to. He just kind of paints the outline for you. We colored in the picture, and that's the way. If you're the prosecutor, you try and get around the fact that you have a liar and that you're presenting the jury.
December 2012.
How do How do you think Trump will fare today, Supreme Court, on his immunity?
I think he's going to lose that argument. It's just a bridge too far, and it is a bridge too far. That a president can pretty much do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, at any point in time is just not. Even running for office, in office, after office, it's just not. It is too much, and I think you would agree with that. That's too much. I think official acts as president should be protected. Anything that's not an official act as president, it deserves a very much heightened level of scrutiny, and the argument has to be ridiculously compelling that it's essentially a presidential act.
What do you think about all these kids? I know that you've had kids that went to Vanderbilt on swimming scholarships, and you've had kids go to college. And if one of your daughters was out there, protesting and just a lot of them are just protesting to not even know what the hell they're protesting.
Yeah, you're right.
Would you not be up
I'd
there
cut her off,
yanking their ass out of school and saying, you know what, if you're going to be up here, you're going to be acting right and not doing this nonsense. And this is all from lack of parenting for kids to act
I don't know,
this way.
Bob. There may be. You were talking about Columbia students. There may be some of those students in that camping out in the encampment there whose parents stand behind them 100% because they went to Columbia and they're hardcore progressive liberals and they hate Jews as well. So they might be rooting like Ilhan Omar's kid. She's incredibly proud that her kid got arrested protesting Jews.
I just don't understand. I don't understand it.
No, me neither.
I don't understand.
You know what? I look at it like this. It really is, if you think about it, everything ism. Because these people, they believe that fat liberation is Palestinian liberation. They're upset about Roe v. Wade. They're upset about all of these things. They've wrapped it all into this one protest. And they believe that this represents everything that they have angst about in their lives.
And I don't know that you could walk up to 5 of them and say, what truly are you protesting? Like what feelings do you have that makes you come out here and miss school and sleep in a tent for 5 days and be disruptive? Like, do you know anybody from Palestine? Do you know anybody that's part of Hamas?
Not to mention, it literally right now in New York City, it looks like 1935 Germany right now, where it is openly okay to harass Jews, keep them from going into the campus, keep them from walking into buildings, surround them and yell at them and scream at them. I mean, that is 1934 Germany.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand. Like, you wouldn't see. I think it has a lot to do with, one, maybe how they're raised, but two, then whoever's the.
They all got trophies in school, and they've never been told no in their lives, and they've never had any accountability for anything ever. That's why they're out there.
You're right. And then the presidents of each universities are a bunch of soft snowflake and bitches.
I guarantee you, each one of these kids threw a cookie down on their father's car seat. Promise you that.
I'll guarantee you that none of these kids ever got their ass whipped.
No.
I promise you that.
Oh, no.
They got talked to death, and they were allowed to be. If Rhonda wanted to be a boy and she wanted to be Robbie, she could have been. And if Robbie wanted to be Rhonda, he could have been.
Right.
And it's a whole slippery slope from what you identify as to boys duct taping their penises and putting on some lipstick lummy and lapping the field on a 400-meter run. It's just where does it stop?
Yeah, we've got a great opportunity now to show some of these students what accountability really is. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a couple of them spending, a few nights behind bars to realize that maybe what they're doing is not right.
Brian, does 1 or 4 pass on the Florida amendment? 1 being the abortion gimmick. No, I'm sorry.
4 is the abortion.
4 is the abortion. Is 1 the weed?
One is you have to be a citizen to vote.
Okay, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
But what's 2?
I'm not sure. I just know 1 and 4 from looking them
2
up.
might have been the weed.
2 was the recreational
3
weed.
was the hunting and fishing. The limitations on hunting and fishing, I think.
Yeah,
and then 4 is abortion.
J Driver 20 on Super Chat.
And in the abortion's
going to pass in Florida. We're going to make it a constitutional right, and it needs to be.
Meaning, so that they'll put the number up like to 23, 24, something like that.
Whatever the stat. I think it was viability.
Viability, which I think is 27.
It's 20. No, viability is like 23 weeks.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think it was 23 or
perfect.
24 on the.
Here's what I need. Let's get that. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's get yes on 4, and let's get yes on the weed, and let's go ahead and let the hunters hunt and fish all they want. And
yes on 1.
And yes. Let's just go yes right across the board. 1 through 4, yes.
DeSantis doesn't want the recreational weed to pass because he thinks that all of Florida will stink like weed. I've got news for him. I ride my motorcycle every day to work. I'm behind guys burning heaters the whole way. All I smell on the way to work.
I think DeSantis kicked ass in his first term with keeping Florida open and things like that, but I think he's really kind of crapped the bed in his second term.
He's kind of turned the corner on a couple things he's been passing lately.
I don't know. I think
what?
I don't think he
specifically.
I don't think he should have screwed
the protesters,
like not giving breaks to people who work outside.
I said the protester.
No, I'm
one.
asking you.
You just asked me why.
Wanting to make you illegal.
What a dick.
Wanting to make.
Hey, name one.
He's supposed to be MAGA now.
Yeah.
I canceled yours out with a bad one. We got yard dogs and hardworking men out here that deserve a break.
There's nobody out there complaining that they couldn't get a break. That's the whole thing. No one's out there. Oh my God!
Yeah, but why do
my
we need
boss
to
won't
pass
let
a
me have
statute that says they don't have to have one?
Because it's common sense that you have a break.
Well, but common sense. Listen, man, common sense doesn't always prevail. We have laws for a reason. A lot of stuff's common sense. It's common sense you don't murder, but we have a law against it, right?
Is there an amendment that an employer has to give a guy a certain amount of time off, like a break?
There was, but they took that law away. They said that there is no requirement that people working outside should get breaks.
Listen.
And meanwhile, no one is working outside dying of heat stroke and thirst and dehydration. But it's a red herring.
But why even have the bill then?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the question, Shannon. Why have the bill?
Bubba, you liked the protest one, and you also like the where they can come into your house and take it. That's also another one where the police can go in. Squatters. There's a squattering law. That's two right there, Brian.
I want that too.
Trump you.
If you're a squatter, yeah, you should be able to go in there and just get your ass whipped.
Yep.
I mean, I think the landlord should be able to go in there and Billy jack your ass. To be honest,
or at least hire someone who could do it for them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
I think Shannon should be able to pull up to his rental home on his big chopped out Harley with his looking like Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse.
Pull up there with a giant piece of chain in my hand.
Cock his shotgun with one hand, and roll in there with the squatters and say, "Listen, bitch, you got
squatter removal service here."
No, exactly.
Why not?
You want to get out of here? You want to get shot?
There are people on TikTok right now that are posting lists of vacant houses so that people can have a nice target to go squat somewhere.
I would do is I'd get an alligator and I'd put it in and I would put it inside that house until I plan on until I'm renting it out every Floridian is afraid of an alligator.
So wait, how are you caring for these alligators in your rental
You're
properties?
making them angry. By the time someone tries to squat, they're ready to attack.
I leave the back door open so they can go into the pool. They can just go.
So you think the alligators are gonna be like, I'm gonna go back inside today?
But when
you don't know alligators, Brian.
Apparently I don't.
When Johnny Squatter goes into my house and there's an alligator, he's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna find some other place to squat on. That place has got alligators. Don't screw with alligators."
Nobody wants to mess with it, but that's the whole thing. That's Bubba's idea. First, I gotta get an alligator.
That's where he goes immediately. I need a gator.
Well, you need your place all You need your place all cambered up so that you don't. Maybe you don't only check on your property once a week. Well, if you got it cambered up and you get a notification and there's a guy that just started squatting today.
Tell me how that worked out for you last time.
Right.
I'm not having footage of my best friend screwing my wife. I'm trying to keep the squatter out of my rental. There's way different ends of the spectrum
Just
there.
a little bit.
Whatever your name is, Brian. All right, Shannon, we gotta go, my friend. Tell Shane thank you. And Tuttle's on a very short rope, my friend. After his appearance, I will confer with both of you if there will be another.
You got it, my brother.
Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely fair.
All
I think it's completely fair. There'll be a lot of ears on that, so
I appreciate.
Tuttle was on a short rope from that ceiling fan that time. But.
Yeah, he was. Shannon, love you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Love you, buddy.
Bye now. Appreciate it.